Okay, let's take a look at the inverse of a parabola. Here's your basic parabola, y equals x squared. Now, if we're not thinking about graphing it or what's going on, if we want to find an inverse, it's the same as the lines. That all functions work this way. All you do to get started is you switch x and y. If it's y equals x squared, you make it y squared equals x. And then you square root both sides. But you know that you have two answers, two solutions to a squared thing. There's the positive and the negative of the square root of x. And there's actually two branches here. Let's take a look at it. Well, there's y equals x squared. And if we get the inverse, x equals y squared is a parabola on its side. But everything's switched. The axis of symmetry of the original parabola is the y-axis. Well, if everything's switched, the axis of symmetry of the inverse parabola is the x-axis. But the problem is, if you're looking for an inverse function, here for this x value of 1, you've got two different y values, so it's not a function. And the only way you can solve this problem is by restricting the domain of the original function. And that's what we do. We go like this. We only take one branch. We say, let's just look at the branch where x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0. And then if you look at the inverse, you draw in y equals x, we'll just have the positive branch, y equals root x. Remember, there's a negative branch down here? We just take the positive branch, and there we've graphed the inverse function. And that's it. That's what it's all about. We don't have to restrict it by just taking the right-hand branch here where x and y are positive. We could have taken the left-hand branch, and that'll work just as good. What will that look like when we find the inverse? Well, then we'll have the negative branch. That'll be a nice inverse function. And here's y equals x, and the whole thing is that this function is reflected in the line y equals x. And that's how it all works. That's it. All done. Whoops, I forgot how to turn it on.